All right, without further ado, let's bring out some of the incredible actors as part of Twin Peaks, the original and the return. First of all, as Mr. Bushnell Mullins, Mr. Don Murray. As William Hastings, Matthew Lillard. Big Ed Hurley himself, Everett McGill. James Hurley, James Marshall. My favorite, Lucy Moran, Kimmy Robertson. Bobby Briggs, Dana Ashbrook. Gary Hutchins, Tim Roth. Janie E. Jones, Ms. Naomi Watts. And last but not least, Special Agent Dale Cooper, Tom McLaughlin. All right, let's get this underway. I can't resist. Kyle, before we all dive in, do you have anything that you want to say here to Hall H by way of greeting? Would you please?
Hello!
That's my ringtone. Before we get into the return, I'd love to talk to some of the original cast about the legacy of Peaks and what the last couple decades were like without it, and then how you were summoned back into it by David and Mark. Starting with Kyle, when it ended, did you always feel like there was going to be more?
Actually, no. I figured that was the end. Although David and I are good friends and we visit with each other frequently, and I would always, during the conversation, and they were always a couple of hours of just sort of revisiting old territory, I would always say, you ever think about maybe going back to Twin Peaks, maybe? And David was always just kind of very non-committal about it, and he never sort of said yes or no, but it was definitely probably a no at that time. So.
And then what happened? Was it a phone call? Was it a...
It was a cryptic phone call. So he called and said, I needed to speak with you. And I said, okay. And he said, but I can't speak to you over the phone about this. And I was like, okay. So I knew I was in trouble for something, or he wanted to talk about something that I hoped he wanted to talk about. So we met in a hotel room in New York, and he had coffee there, which is always nice. And he said he and Mark were writing and had found a way back to Twin Peaks, and was I up for the journey? And I said, I've never left Twin Peaks, David. I said, I'm ready to go. So.
That's awesome. Thanks. Everett, I think that I heard or read somewhere that had you not answered a very specific phone call, did David and Mark tweet out, how do we get in touch with you? How did that all happen from your perspective?
Well, I heard Mark told me that David was going to go out to his Twitter crowd and see whether or not someone knew about my whereabouts. And somebody sent him a telephone number of an empty house I have where I keep a couple of vintage cars. And I just happened to be there. I show up at this place maybe every couple of weeks to drive the cars. And I got this yellow rotary phone hanging on the wall, and it rings. I haven't heard this damn phone ring in 10 years. And I pick it up, it's David. And for some strange reason, it felt so comfortable. I hadn't spoken to this guy in 20 years. But it's like we picked up a conversation we just left off the day before. So it was sweet, it was warm. Oddly enough, we didn't talk about Twin Peaks, but we shared a lot of our memories together, some of the time we spent on Dune, and of course Twin Peaks. And he said, hey man, I need a telephone number where I can be in touch with you. Is this a good one? I said, man, this is not a good phone. So we exchanged numbers, and in a while he got back to me and he said, we're gonna do Twin Peaks. And I said, what? Missed 25 years, man. They're gonna put you in jail. You're breaking some kind of law. They said they're gonna do it, and I said, well, you just call me when it's time to suit up. And I did. And it's great, by the way. It was a fabulous feeling, a warm, wonderful, womb-like feeling to be around him, because he's a funny guy. He's very clever. And he knows how to get a performance. He knows how to dig deep. And I loved coming back. It's a long time. 25 years is a long time.
We're really glad that you came back. Dana, I heard you were actually heading to a fan convention with Cheryl when you heard that there was something in the works. What?
Yeah, we were heading to the Twin Peaks UK Festival, I think in 2015 probably. And it had been, rumored, and the tweets had come out about the gun coming back in style and all that stuff. So we kind of knew what was going on. And then, Cheryl was on the way to the airport, and David called her and said, it's going to happen, you're in it. And then she said, well, I'm going to go see Dana in London in a few hours. Is he in it, or can I tell him? And so he said, yeah, Dana's in it. And so we didn't know in what capacity or anything about it, but that we were in it. And so we just, it was the best trip to London I think I've ever had. I was just walking on air the whole time. Right. Super fun. We used to send pictures. We were sending pictures to David of us walking on the London Bridge and stuff. There's Bobby and Laura taking pictures. That's it. So that's how I learned about it.
And James and Kimmy, what about you guys? Where were you when you got the call?
In bed.
I was just at a friend's house, and phone rang, and completely mind blown. I was about 100 miles away from my house, and I immediately got up, put my stuff together, went back to my house, and I just lost it. I didn't know what to do.
It was wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
I was in bed, the phone rang, I answered it, which I never do. But I answered it because first I got a text. It was Sabrina Sutherland asking if she could call me, that's what you do in LA. You have to ask if it's all right if it could call you. I said yes. She called me, I answered the phone, and she said, I have David Lynch for you, would you like to speak to him? And I went, yes. And he told me, and as he was talking, I slid off the bed, down the bed, which was really high at the time. By the time I was done talking to him, I was looking at the bottom of my bed. I had somehow crawled all the way under the bed. Because it was just so unexpected.
Naomi, you've worked with David before on Mulholland Drive. Amazing movie. How did you get recruited for Peaks? And more importantly, what, if anything, did you know about Janie E before you said yes?
Okay, the first part, I've definitely stayed in touch with David since Mulholland Drive, and we get together, you go up to his house and we chat a bit, and I had actually gone up there maybe, I don't know, a year ago or more than a year ago with Laura Dern, who's sadly not here today. And we were trying to coax him into some ideas and get something going. Kind of, that's what you do with David. Come on, hire me again. It's just so good to be on a set with him or just in a room. Anyway, he was talking about some ideas as he smoked and smiling a lot, but not really saying yes or no, like your conversation went down. And then finally, I heard the rumor that Twin Peaks was happening, but I wasn't part of that original team, obviously. So it would be wrong for me to be pushy about it, but I dropped some hints. And then finally I did get a call and said, Naomi, come up to the house. I want you to read something. And I said, okay, sounds good. And he just gave me an envelope, gave me a cup of coffee, sat me in his chair that he built, and next to a table that he built. And I sat there for a good hour or so and read these pages, but there was nothing, I don't know anything about what happened before my part or after, and the scenes I was in, that's all he gave me, and some of the scenes, the lines were crossed out, so I don't know what was said. Only, the back and forth between us. Dougie, lovely Dougie. Dougie!
So those pages, though, it was slugged as Dougie. You were in a scene with Dougie, but was it revealed to you that that character was going to be played by Kyle, or?
It was not told to me, but
intuitive.
I certainly
Understood.
posed that question.
Copy that.
Which he did not, clarify. Yeah.
Matthew, I wrote a piece on the work that you've been doing in The Return, and it said, and I quote, "By conjuring up as much snot as a person could ever create, Lillard has turned Hastings into a memorable human character in a sea of Lynchian insanity. Many have compared your tearful performance to that of the incredible Ray Wise from the original series, who played Laura Palmer's father, Leland. And I heard you came in cold, that you never actually, kind of...
Still have it, bro.
You've never seen the original Peaks.
They're all so lovely. These people are amazing. I'm going to watch it tonight.
So, are you watching this one, The Return?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think they're so lovely. I think it's weird. Anyone else? If you're not a Lynchian, if you're not a Twin Peaks dude, you come in, it's a little strange.
My question for you would be...
You guys saw episode 8, right? That's crazy.
What is it, yet you feel like you fit in this world so completely, what do you think it is that David saw in you that made him invite you into this world?
I honestly have no idea how I got here. Look, I don't know. His casting process is very interesting. It's, you sit in a room and somebody talks to you and they put a video camera on your face and you're just talking about life in general, and you get a phone call saying, I want you to come read these pages. So I literally was like, with my kids, I'm like, I have to go by this office and read a script. And my biggest fear is that I was going to do something horrible and naked in the show. I don't know. When you're reading a David Lynch script, you have no idea where it's going to go. Yeah, it's a horrible thing. And then, I got to the scene that's in episode 9, and it was intimidating. It was the scariest thing I've ever read as an actor, just because in the middle of it, he's got a line that says the character breaks down hysterically sobbing. And you sort of know, being a fan of David's and being a fan of his movies, what that kind of looks like. So it was intimidating. And on that day, you sort of, in his world, you get 2 takes. You kind of come in, you do your thing, and you move on. So you want to be really good, really fast.
Mission accomplished.
You did.
Now, Tim, you were a Peaks fan, and like a Dune fan, a Lynch fan. Is that accurate?
I was more of a Eraserhead fan. I was, and a Blue Velvet fan. And a Mulholland Drive fan. So I was very, the idea of, a long time ago I played Gregor Samsa, who's in the Metamorphosis character. I did it with Burkhoff, and we did it in London on stage.
Cockroach.
And that's what Eraserhead, that's the connection to that for me in a way, in a weird way. So I was a fan of that stuff. I wasn't somebody who'd seen who dealt with the whole Twin Peaks thing. I was busy dealing with the Quentin thing at that time. And so this was all new to me. I knew him from Dune, which I saw in the cinema in London. And but I was very, very new to all of it. Very new. I find it intriguing, I still do.
And you had never met David prior to working on this project with him?
No, I'd met his daughter, I hadn't met him.
And so what was the first meeting like? Did you get the job before you actually met him? Was there a phone call?
They called up
Yeah.
and said, do you want to do Twin Peaks? I said, yeah.
Sold.
It's fucking it, man. Oh, I broke the law. Not supposed to swear. But yeah, and then I was working with, I can't say. Can I say? Yes, I can say. With Jennifer Jason Leigh, and I just worked with her. So, and David had cast us in it completely independently of Hateful Eight. He didn't even know that we worked together in it, I don't think. And so it was kind of a nice reunion for us.
Very cool.
Don,
we've talked a lot about working with, meeting David. Many of your scenes are working with Kyle. More importantly, the Dougie iteration of Agent Cooper or Kyle's performance. I don't quite know how to explain it. What is it like working with Kyle? What is it like working with someone who doesn't say words per se? What are the inherent challenges in some of those scenes?
Well, I remember my first sentence to Dougie was, cut the shit, Dougie. I knew that we had had a relationship. When I was told about Twin Peaks, it actually came from the casting director, Joanna Ray, who's a wonderful casting director, as you can see from the wonderful actors that she gets. And I had never met David, and of course, all I got was pages of script, my own scene, but the scene was 4 pages long and solid dialogue, and the other characters just said a word or two. And this was a real challenge to do. And fortunately, I had my actor's son, Michael Murray, who was one of the stars of Cop Rock, ran the scene with me, and we had 10 days before we started shooting, and he made me go through the scene 10 times each day. So I'd gone through it 100 times by the time we got to the scene. And then what was really interesting to me and made it all the more enjoyable was there was such an atmosphere on the set when I walked on the set. I think it was probably one of the happiest sets I've ever walked on. There was no tension at all. Everything was very relaxed, and even the cast and the crew, there was a togetherness with it. There was no real difference between actors and technicians. We were all into making this film. We were all very much moved by the man who had written this and directed it, and David Lynch, and also with Mark, of course. And it just became one of the great experiences of my life, one of the most pleasant things that I've ever done. And having seen the results, I'm watching it like a fan every week because, of course, I haven't seen the other pages that the other actors are doing. So it made me a big Twin Peaks fan, and I'm just happy to be part of it and feel very grateful for the opportunity.
You raised a really interesting point because all of you, have, maybe with the exception of Kyle, have only read your parts. What is it like watching the show for you? The first 10 episodes. What is the experience of seeing it? Are you just as surprised as we are? Are you trying to figure out how you fit into it? Do you watch it with friends and family? Do you watch it alone? Just a question for the entire panel. I'm curious as to how you are watching this work, because traditionally an actor knows what it's going to be. In this case, not so much.
It's we're all watching it as it unfolds. No one has seen anything beyond the episodes that have already aired. And I would like to watch it home alone. Glass of wine, and that's about all I need.
I haven't watched it yet because I've been traveling in places with not great internet, and so I'm saving it all. It's like,
You're really good.
Canada?
Yeah.
No. Sorry, that was.
Yeah, so it's good I'm looking forward to watching big chunks of it all at once.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I haven't seen it. I'm gonna wait until it's done, and then I'm gonna watch the whole thing from the first series all the way through to the end with my kids. So we're gonna have like a festival that will. I don't know what that's going to do to us, but I'm up for it, and you're all invited.
Just, because we don't know anything, but we, knew the cast list, but we didn't know how it all factored in. But I just want to say that as an original movie, it's been so exciting and thrilling for me to watch someone like Kyle, who I've known for all these years, get to do stuff that I didn't even know he could do. It's like amazing to see his work. And these two here as well, they're like some of my favorite actors. And just to be able to be a part of something, even though, well, we don't know if we interact, but just the fact that we got to, I get to watch them work. It's just awesome. And then plus all the, originals. I don't know. It's just exciting for everybody, even us,
How about that Dana turned out? I mean, Bobby he's look where he's come now. Look how far he's come.
Bobby got a good arc.
Bobby got a good arc. Watching you grow as an actor has been great too.
I think they suck.
That's why I love him.
Just another quick question for the panel, and we're going to, if you guys want to start lining up for Q&A, we're going to get to that in just a minute. What is the question that you guys get asked the most often by either the fans, the media, even if you aren't allowed to answer it? But I'm just curious, what's the question that kind of keeps coming up now that the return is out there? Do you have one?
What's David Lynch like?
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
What's David Lynch like?
How do you even answer a question like that? What's David Lynch like?
Can I say it?
What's David Lynch like?
He has this incredible sense of joy about him. It's actually an easy answer because he's full of joy and life, and he has this peace about him that's unlike anyone I've ever experienced. And he has a vision of what he wants. I don't know. He's a fantastic human being. So it's actually an easy answer.
He is fantastic. He's his belief in his process and his vision and his point of view is so profound and focused, and he inspires me that way because he follows this dream in his mind, and that I find that inspirational in my life to go after the thing that I believe in the strongest. He inspires me that way.
I think one of the most impressive things about David is that he really shows great appreciation for other people's work. And it's one thing that we all like is to be appreciated for our efforts, and he never fails to do that. So you go home after a day's work with David and you feel good about yourself and about the world because of having had that experience.
Well, good, man.
All right, guys, let's open it up to some of your questions. I've still got a bunch more. Oh, excellent.